Okay. Just to be clear, we're doing full powers, right? Not like any specific version.
Sure.
Okay. What do you want to use? I mean, you want to start anyway, so it's fine.
I'll send the scans in the base scans channel.
Yeah.
All right, let me get them.
I mean, if I know the scans, I can just grant them. I don't have to send it.
Oh, okay. I'll do that for the statement where was it James? He affirms that he could lose to gun. You don't need that scan, right?
Wait, sorry?
The scan where James affirms he could lose the gun. You don't need that scan, right?
He
'Cause I'll
could lose the
reference it.
gun?
Yeah, I'll reference it, but if you don't need it because you
Yeah,
remember it,
I
fine.
understand, yeah. Or
Okay.
just because I'm repping gun right now. So I don't know where you use it at.
Oh, you'll see it.
Okay.
Do you see the scan?
It's like it's loading.
Okay.
Any second now, you guys. Any second. Alright, hold on a sec.
Well, there's a shit ton of niggas in here.
For real.
Okay, I see the scan. I mean, I have like several issues with this, but just because you think this references feed thresholds, right?
Yeah, I think it's a reference to 3 thresholds. Unless you think otherwise.
Okay, no, I agree. Okay, so what's the argument for this?
Okay, so my argument is that James affirms that the old Him and Liang, before he perfected his technique, would have struggled against either of them. Right? So I think that he verbatim emphasizes the definition of struggle, which is a great effort in order to do something. I think that even relativity would be contingent upon a great effort in order to do something, which would entail
Okay.
that he would be superior now to Yamazaki by gun and Daniel.
Okay. I'm not sure about the struggle part. That's actually like my main issue with this. I'm not sure what struggle means, so I think it's pretty consistent that struggle means something different. But even let's say like this is all Tree said, I don't think this would connect back to full power gun. He was just slowing down during the fight. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
But even if he does that, like he just like, sorry, even if he does like, sorry, what's up?
Oh yeah.
No,
That's why I
you can
forgot to
speak, bro.
reference the base gun statement. I was going to reference that because I disagree with a gun having any sort of scaling towards James at all. So I was referencing that as this is like when he gets validity on gun scale prowess.
Okay. I mean, that would be just on
But
Tree gun.
do you want to agree? We disagree with the definition of struggle. Do you want to?
Yeah, I don't know what struggle means.
Okay. Where do you want to reference it from?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Inverse or?
I mean, obviously, like the best case scenario is you have James using the word struggle in in similar scenarios, that would probably be the best case scenario. We would actually grasp the definition, but I'd be fine if like actually, I mean, it's always context dependent, but I think if you want to just go inverse, then struggle always means to just get blown the fuck up with dynamite in the fight. So I'm kind of like confused why you would use this, because to me it just sounds like he's saying, "Yeah, I'd get beat the fuck up by Gun and Daniel here."
His 3T self or his current self? Like getting beat
Sorry,
up? His 3T self or his current self getting beat up?
his feature self.
Okay, what do you think it means for DG?
Sorry,
What do you think it means for him currently?
he just doesn't get blown up, but basically, I'm not even sure. I don't think it would imply relativity either, but he's just saying he'd be more confident going into this fight in his current self or in his current version.
I made the definition of struggle.
Excuse me. So I'm sorry if I'm sorry if I asked for you to repeat yourself a lot. There's just my mic's kind of shut. What are you saying?
It's alright, it's alright. Okay.
Okay.
Let me a definition of struggle. If you disagree with this,
I mean, you can have like a
and
formal definition, and people use the definition differently all the time. Like even in
I mean,
Lookism, like even the scans I have for the word struggle, it usually means you just lose the fight, but it's not even the same always. I can send like just the one I have on hand. One sec.
I guess send a inverse reference if you disagree with this. Or we can get into whether or not the context would suggest the definition I'm sufficing to you.
Yeah, sure.
If it's possible, right?
If the definition is context dependent, yeah, obviously. But look, my problem, my problem is generally all of these like you can have a context dependent definition, and you have the context fitting, perfectly to the context in the definition, but then the definition will still be dependent on the intention behind the statement itself.
Okay. I'll just give you both then.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. By the way, let me know if you have a different definition or something for this.
I mean, my definition of struggle doesn't really matter. I'm just telling you inverse. We don't really know what James would mean.
Yeah. I'll get the inverse reference. I'll just check it right now.
All right, so just to make something clear as well, if we just agree on a definition, because I just might as well just agree, just for us to continue the debate. If we agree, do you think it just means, okay, I'm going to struggle to like do what in the fight? Because I think he can struggle to um, hold up to that point in the fight. He can struggle to just not die in the fight. He can struggle to win in the fight. He can struggle to do a lot of things in the fight. Given it's a goal that's preceded with great effort.
Yeah, I can agree. I agree. It could be interpreted like in any way, but I think for James, what he's implying is that he would pretty much just win. Like it wouldn't be difficult for him at all. So I think he's like implying here.
Currently,
Yeah,
okay, you
I
can
think
you can
in
never
any
you can
way.
never prove that. You can never prove that. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm?
I'm not gonna lie. You can like never prove that.
Let me get the inverse reference. Go ahead. I think it was chapter 487.
Yeah, and just to make it clear for the audience, my three problems with this statement, I'm not sure if I'm counting it properly, but it's whether or not it connect, like, given all the things Mara proposes with the definitions, all of them proceed to be true. I'm not sure if that would connect to full power gun. As I said, gun was slowing down the fight. Then my two actual main problems would be semantic. It would be whether or not struggle actually means anything there. Because I think struggle usually means, just to get blown up in the fight. Just you lose very badly. That's what struggle means. And then even if you do struggle, meaning you kind of keep up with a guy, uh, what James would mean there, like for example, if he says, "Oh, I'm struggling to keep up to that moment, sorry, to that point of the fight," that obviously wouldn't grant relativity. He's just saying, "Okay, I'm struggling to even make it like to 10 seconds within the fight," which is like pretty much what the inverse is. So that doesn't really mean anything.
Okay, my bad. This is my inverse reference. Do you remember when Gun fights the Kojimas? Well, Gun and Elite fight the Kojimas.
Yeah, one sec. Yeah, I remember. Sorry, it's just the scans are
Yeah,
not loading again. But yeah, I know the fight, obviously.
do you want to wait till I load in, or you just want me to continue?
Yeah. I just say whatever you want, bro. One sec.
Okay. So the shaman, he affirms that he's holding his own against the powerful Yakasha, and let me see, he said the ghostly brothers are actually struggling. No doubt they will fight to their dying breath, right? So you put in the question about it being referred to it this way within inverse wise, right?
Yeah.
And I think that this would grant that this would hold that to be the case, as
Okay.
it was a great effort in order to do something. The definition I'm giving to you.
Okay, sorry. My issue is not whether or not you can use the word this way. I'm asking whether or not he did use the word this way.
The shaman.
No, James. So you just told me
Oh,
that
okay.
characters inverse do use the word in this context, but I already told you I can show you like 10 examples
Okay,
of
yeah.
the
I want to
characters using it in the way I'm describing it, and even then I don't think it would be too relevant to just it's pretty hard to extract actual context or actual intentionality between statements. That's why I think it's just pretty irrelevant as a statement.
Yeah, I have an argument for that. I was just granting to you that within lyricism, they do deem struggling, or it has been referenced as a great effort in order to do something, which is what my argument is contingent upon.
No, I'm saying obviously you can reference something as this, like as this definition, or when the word is used, you can reference it using this definition. But that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you whether or not he did use this, which is a totally different thing.
James?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you
that
unless you
sounds
tell me
good.
that all of these like showings like of this word being used this way would actually infer you to James saying this and not my interpretation or any other interpretation of the word you can, then that's relevant. But I don't think you can actually infer anything from this. That's not an inference. You're saying, okay, this word is associated with these characters and how they use it in these contexts. Like it's not relevant at all.
Yeah, that's how I was going to get into the part with James. I just wanted to grant you that within inverse, the definition can apply, are likely going to
No,
apply.
obviously you can
That's
apply,
not
but
what I
that's
want to
not the
grant
issue
you.
though.
Yeah. I just want to get into that. Let me hit the scans for. Let me see. Do you remember James fights Daniel? I want to tie this back
Yeah,
to.
obviously. UI Daniel? Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, of course.
All right, I feel like you might disagree with this kind of, so I want to just get the scans here. That's all right. I don't want to say one part of the fight, so that's why I said that much. My bad.
All right. Just like as we continue this, you don't have to like pause every time you get scans. You can just tell me what you're referencing. Because most of the time, I just
Okay.
literally just remember this stuff.
I got it. Okay. So you disagree, or you put in the question whether or not the context would imply relativity, right? For a struggle?
Sorry, one sec.
All
So
right,
what are you
what I'm
asking me?
granting you. Oh, I said that. So you put in the question whether or not struggle within this instance would imply what I'm granting you, right? Okay. So
What are you against him?
within this scan, remember when
What do you mean
Daniel
granting?
fights
That doesn't
James?
really make sense.
Granting that my whole point is essentially that James doesn't think that it would require a great effort in order to beat them currently. And
Okay, just the
I'll
word you
reference
use, like
why
the way you use grant is just kind of weird. But okay, what are you saying? Sorry.
my bad. So essentially, when he fights Daniel, he I don't think it took him a great amount of effort in order to within that fight. I think that Daniel failed to give him a equal response for his attacks. Right. So I think that's where his perception of the struggle would derive from. And the life of the final skin I sent is when he sees YUI gunfight him as well, and he starts observing their fight, and then he derives to the conclusion that Ali Hammett is incomplete self would struggle with them, right? So I think this would reference back to what I said about to proceed with difficulty or a great effort in order to do something, right? I think that it would imply that him currently wouldn't struggle with them at all, and I gave context for his
Okay, it
fight
didn't
with
really
Daniel.
load, but are you just saying that he's using current Daniel as a reference, and then that would just explain your interpretation?
Yeah, that and the part where he observes them.
Okay. You know, you understand that I can explain my interpretation as well. Like he fights Daniel now, he doesn't really struggle, but then he recognizes that he would struggle with him badly. Like he would get blown up by Daniel like 2 years ago, or whenever he gained 3 thresholds. That's totally compatible with what I'm saying.
The 3 thresholds?
Yeah. Like he just uses that. Like he uses his current fight with Daniel as a reference. Like that's fine. What I'm saying. That has nothing to do with him
Okay,
struggling in
but
the way you're
okay,
saying
okay.
he's struggling.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But the thing is that I know you can interpret it that way about he could lose as much as he could win the interpretation. It could go either way, right? But what I mainly care about, like the way my main point is contingent upon, is him currently. I trying to scale DG above them, right? So that's what
Yeah,
I
but if you
care
just
about the
if you're
most.
trying to do that, if you're trying to do that off of the statement there, then that's not really relevant. Because if you're just saying that, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get blown up there, that doesn't really do anything for DG now. Because I already told you, I don't think him not struggling now would indicate relativity either. That's a whole another topic. Like a whole other topic. I'm not sure if I said another, but you get it. There's a whole other point. Like we're not getting into that yet.
Wait. So because I don't really think we need to get too far into this point. I don't think it's that relevant to the scale. But okay, wait. So what are you trying to grant with this right here? Then I told. Are you right
With
here?
the whole with the statements, with statement.
Like if you suffice that it doesn't like it implies that he could just lose, or he's just losing. What are you trying to affirm with that?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure what that would scale Curran James, but I'm just saying that wouldn't scale him anywhere. Like that statement itself holds like zero relevance to scaling. I'm not sure what that was scaling.
Oh, okay. So if you affirm this, then you're saying that the statement itself would hold no validity.
I mean, it's valid. It's true. Like he's just saying he gets blown the fuck up. That's true. That's the true part. But that doesn't like I can lose to Mike Tyson, and like another guy who's like way stronger than me can also lose to Mike Tyson. That
Oh,
obviously
okay.
doesn't
I get
scale
what
me
you're
anywhere.
saying. I get what you're saying. Oh, I think
Yeah.
I know what you're saying now. I think you disagree with it meaning anything for current James, right?
Sorry.
You disagree with it meaning anything for current James, right? Am I misinterpreting?
I mean, yeah, he got stronger. If that's what you mean.
Oh, okay. I get it. Get it. Okay.
He got unquantifiably stronger, but that doesn't scale him either.
I got confused for a second because I thought you were trying to disprove the
That's okay,
part
buddy.
where I'm scaling James, current James.
Okay. I mean, look, you want to just like go into my scaling, or like you still have anything to say?
Wait. Before we get into your scaling, I just want to ask you a question
All right, yeah, you
and
got.
probably argue upon that. So, do you think that? So do you think that him like previously, if he just saying that he could struggle before, so you just disagree with there being a comparison between himself currently?
No, he's definitely comparing himself. He's definitely comparing his 3 threshold self to himself now, but he's just saying he wouldn't lose that terribly now. Like that's all that tells me. He doesn't lose. Like he doesn't get blown the fuck up to bits.
Okay, I think you
No.
should get into that. I think I disagree with that.
I mean, you can
Right.
disagree with that, but you're in the affirmative. Like I don't really care.
Okay. So I think that if a fighter was to compare themselves to the other like fighter he's observing, I think if he was to compare him to himself previously when he was weaker, I think that would imply that he's referencing that he's stronger than all of them, not just saying what you're arguing about whether or not that it could mean nothing for DG. I think that he's just referencing all three of them, him being stronger than all three of them. I think that's like what would
You can't. You really can't prove that. I'd say that would be more plausible if the point of comparison would be all three of them at the same time. But he's just saying, like the anchor of the statement would be that he got like just way stronger since his three thresholds self. That's kind of the anchor. He's not saying here all of these guys, like all these guys are this like level, and I'm just above that level now. He's saying no, I got stronger since my three threshold stuff. I was not ready to go into this fight. Like I would not be ready if I didn't get that much stronger.
I think I can prove that. So
Okay.
okay. So I think essentially it would require less assumptions to assume that he's making the comparison himself due to him being stronger than all three of them. Because I think that if a fighter was to compare himself to like himself previously to these fighters rather than himself currently, I think that it would mean that he's referencing that he's stronger than all three of them now and himself as well. And I think that for the plausibility part, as I already sufficed to you, I think that within the fight with Daniel, I don't think it took him a great effort in order to do something. I said that's where the context was derived from, right? So, and if
Oh,
he
sorry, you just.
compares,
Sorry, I don't
uh,
mean to cut you off, but you just said the same. Like you just said the exact same thing, but added it has less assumptions. Like what more assumptions that hold you?
hmm?
You said the exact same thing, but said okay, but I hold less assumptions. Okay, what more assumptions do I hold to?
Okay, I can give you that. So, I think you would be assuming that there would be no like. Okay, so I think mines would require less. I think it'd be better if I explained to you like mines require less assumptions, while yours would be more of a
Yeah, but
demonstration.
what more am I assuming? So we're both having an inquiry. Like we're both trying to explain the intention behind the statement. What more am I assuming about the intention behind the statement?
Okay. So I think like with parts of money, you'll be going with the more simple estimation, right? And I think that mine would be more simpler, right? Yours will have the presuppositions behind it still, because I granted you what where the comparison derives from, right? And then not only did I grant you where the comparison derives from, I tied it to where he initially fights Daniel, and there was no struggle ever being put into question. So I think, like I said, I think that's where he's deriving this conclusion from. I think that he says that he does not struggle. He doesn't struggle with Daniel within this fight because of my on the scale current James, right? So I think that there is
Okay.
a sort of comparison, as you referenced plausibility. I think that there is a sort of comparison being made for the current James, seeing as though he didn't struggle with Daniel at all. And I think that
Okay.
like parsimony will be going with the more simpler explanation. And I think
Okay.
yours
I
has
know what
the
parsimony is. I'm asking you how is your thing more parsimonious? You keep repeating your position. You keep outlining your position, but you're not saying what more am I assuming?
I'll just grade it to you. I think mine would be more simpler, but
Okay, because
yours,
do
I
you know
think
what
yours.
like do you know how to actually like outline positions being simpler and more complex?
Yeah, I do know, but I think that
Okay,
if
it's
one was
just
to
any
put
given hypothesis, given you're using giving using the actual relevant type of person, you're going to be saying that the hypothesis would hold to more variables or assumptions in this case. So if we're both just trying to outline the intention behind the statement, we're just both assuming things on the intention behind the statement or the mental state behind the statement. Like I'm confused. How would I be assuming more by just saying, okay, the intention would just be to compare himself to himself before, not just to the three fighters now. I'm just confused.
okay, I think that I'll explain it to you. I'll explain it to you. So I think that when you say that it could be your interpretation, I think that when I say that, I don't think that the context derives to that. I think that yours have the assumption that it would, and when I suffice to you that why it wouldn't, right? I'd be withholding that, and I think mine would be a more simpler explanation because I don't
Wait,
think that
sorry,
the
why again?
context.
You said I'd just be assuming that the context would draw to that. What do you mean?
Oh, because as you said like earlier, right? It would like depend on the context.
Yeah, but we're both assuming the context. We both think we're right, unless you just think, oh yeah, but I don't actually think I'm right, bro. Like I'm just assuming I'm wrong. Like that's obviously retarded.
Yeah, but I think mine derives to the conclusion. Why yours presupposes it? Because I don't think you give in context.
Okay,
as
no,
to
but
withhold
we're
that.
both saying that. Like that's just saying, okay, I don't believe the negation. Doesn't actually tell me anything about your position. You're just saying, okay, I don't think your position like actually aligns with the context. Well, yeah, obviously that's why you take the negation, but you're not outlining why. Like you're not telling me why.
Okay, I can affirm to you my points.
I mean, yeah, do that, please.
Okay, okay. So I would just advising to you. So in case you like call out circularity or something, like any question.
Do you know what's in question right now?
Huh? Oh, I said I was just giving. I'm just telling you like with the points that I weigh in case you like think I'm going circular or something.
No, it's fine. But do you know what's in question though?
Yeah, I know it's in question.
Okay. Just to
Okay,
be clear, what's in question is whether or not your thing is more persuasive. I don't think you can derive that at all. If my issue with
okay,
that is we're always like the only thing you probably can be assuming unless you're just saying something just completely absurd is the intention behind the statement or the mental state behind the statement. That's not like most of the time, unless you're just a complete retard, that's not going to outline to more assumptions. Like unless I'm going to say, oh yeah, James actually is like I don't even know, like he has a very specific mental state. Like he's very happy while making the statement, therefore that would derive to my conclusion. Like unless I'm saying something that retarded, like obviously we're just assuming like a similar mental state.
okay. I'll explain the points to you now, and then
No, you can explain what you want, but I just didn't hear an argument for that. Like I just like
okay.
let's just keep it concise.
Well, yeah, I think mine's like contingent upon everything I've like withheld with you, and then I don't think you're like taking that into consideration. So I'll
Wait,
just
sorry
give
again.
that. I think that everything that I'm like mine is contingent upon like everything that I've given to you, right? And then I think that you can give your defeater after that. Okay.
What does that mean? You're saying your conclusion will be dependent on the evidence you give?
Like everything I've sufficed to you.
No, because I don't have an issue with everything given to me. I'm just saying that doesn't actually connect to a conclusion. That kind of begs the question.
Yeah, I'm saying that though that everything I give to you, I think that personally would prefer my exclamation.
Yeah, but why? Like that's the question. Why?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to get into.
Okay, man.
Okay. So
Or just to be clear, what type of
remember,
person are you using?
I'm just the going to more similar information. It's like Occam's razor. Occam's razor. So, okay.
Sorry,
So I said Occam's razor.
Occam's razor is literally just parsimony.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm asking like what type of parsimony? Are you using ontological or
And,
statistical parsimony?
hmm,
Are you using ontological or statistical parsimony?
the latter.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So you see when he says that the Omi chain lane would probably protected my technique would have struggled against either of them, right? I think that means that it wouldn't take him a great effort in order to do something, which would imply that he's stronger now, right? Or they don't tell that he's stronger than them now. I think that is reference to him and his incomplete self and all three of them as well. I made the implication of referencing a weaker version of himself rather than himself currently. And we've already went over struggle within that instance, right? About struggle within lyricism, it can mean that as well, or more likely the Kojima's part, right? And then about the part where James and Daniel fights, right? I don't think that it took him a great effort in order to do something or to beat him. I don't think Gyro actually disagree with that. And then the part after where the part after, I think that's where he's deriving to the conclusion that it wouldn't require him of struggling currently because it didn't take him a great effort in order to fight Daniel within that exchange. And then he observes them as well and comes to another gets more validity for that. And then so that's like Gyro, that's like all the things that I'm strengthening my argument with for why it would be the more simpler explanation. Right? I don't think all these things have been disproven.
Or
I think
sorry,
that
given all these things would be true, like everything you said would actually connect to the conclusion, would actually infer to the conclusion. That would be a likely increase. That would not make you more persuasive. What I'm asking is why it would be more persuasive. But that's fine. I'll just like I'll just make it clear because maybe I was like maybe my mic bugged out or something. Um, everything you said up to this point, I already told you. With the Kojima shit and with the Daniel shit, doesn't actually tell you anything about the debate we're having. It just tells you that this word can be used in this context in Ilkism. And then you're saying, okay, since it can be used in this context, because Daniel has some kind of reference point, and Daniel, like the way he fought him before, which obviously I fucking grant, he would probably use it this way. Unless you disagree with my definition of the word or my like the definition I provided for the word not being able to be used. Sorry, you disagree with not being able to be used, then this is literally a basis for my interpretation as well. Okay, you didn't tell me anything about your position. Like you're saying, okay, this word can be used, and he has the reference to where he used this word, but my definition can also be used, and he also has this fucking reference.
Okay, so well, the first part where I was just getting to the struggle part. So you remember you wanted a definition of struggle, and then you wanted the inverse reference of struggle because you said that it can be like used anyway. And you wanted inverse reference. I gave you the inverse reference, and yeah, I said it's more likely because within struggle, lyricism, how characters use it within lyricism, they're granting this definition of struggle, right? So I think that depending on the context, which you didn't disagree with, it's likely that he could be using struggle within this way. So then I get into the context of struggle, and then I suffice to you why it would be like that. It would like that within this instance. And about the last part, you said something about the yeah. Okay, so I don't disagree. I think that struggle can be interpreted in both of those ways. I said that's fine. But I think that for DG, I think that he's implying that he's just above them. That's from the struggle.
Okay.
That's where I'm deriving from struggle.
Okay, dude. The disagreement is not whether or not it could be used this way. I'm saying why it being able to be used this way actually says that he used this way. You understand that, right? Like Kojima's using it this way doesn't make it a universal thing in Lyxism. It's obviously context dependent. If you don't say that it's context dependent, you can't just say that the Kojimas, which is a completely fucking different character, using it in this fucking context would grant us anything about James. That's totally fucking different.
Yeah, so you agree that it's context dependent, but I'm saying I'm giving you
Yeah, I agree it's
context
context dependent,
that
but that's what I'm telling you. You can't actually fucking use this.
that I can't use it.
No, the only thing you can say, the only thing you can show me with this is the word can be used in Lyxism this way, which is obviously granted.
Yeah, you said it's context dependent.
The way we would actually derive how it was used would be context dependent. Yeah. So, for example, if I'm saying I'm looking at the fighter, I'm like, maybe I don't even know how you divide this to be honest. But like, let's say I'm like super confident. I think I would beat the fuck up this guy right now. I'm saying okay, maybe back in the day I would have struggled with the guy. Like I think it would make more sense to say that in like given my opinion on me versus him now, we would just say okay, maybe I thought that me and him went relative before, or maybe if I think me and the guy I'm comparing myself to now are relative now, and I say, okay, I would have struggled with the guy before. Obviously, that would mean that I would get blown the fuck up to bits by the guy now. Sorry, by the guy back then when I was weaker. That's what I mean, context dependent.
Okay, you're saying that I pretty much I get what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So you're saying that like you did a comparison prior. He's saying that it just would get blown up, like what you said, right? And then it doesn't mean anything for him now, right? Or you
Yeah,
can
pretty much.
tell me what your verbatim said. I feel like that's too oversimplified.
No, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. I'm saying that he just like the way I see struggle being used in Lucasm, I don't think it makes sense to say that he thought he was relative with them before. But obviously, it can be used in a way which would imply that they're relative, but really, that's not really relevant. I mean, you can say like, if you don't say like your last name, we can just move on with the thing. I don't think we're really progressing here.
Yeah, because I don't see where the disagreement is deriving from.
The disagreement is I don't think this would scale 3 threshold James to gun, and by proxy, the GG that scales above 3 threshold James above gun.
Yeah, you disagree with James scaling above three, all of them, right?
Sorry,
You disagree with DG scaling above both of them, right?
above gun or Daniel, yeah. I think it's ambiguous. I'm not sure if you can say that the Gun and Daniel are above just from the statement, but you definitely can't say that James is above from the statement. Like they're just retarded as fuck.
Yeah, then that's how I don't get where the defeater is coming from, because when you give a defeater, right, you don't disprove the strength of like what I've sufficed to you, right? You say about like you don't think that it would mean that, and
The distinct side.
I just
What
think
I'm
that like
saying is the defeater would come. Okay, calm down. Sorry, one sec. The defeater is that you're saying that this would scale DG above either Gun or Daniel now because they were relative before. I'm saying if they weren't relative before and Faith Threshold just gets blown the fuck up, then you can't say that he beats them now. Because they would just be ambiguous from the statement. He just say that he doesn't lose to them as badly now. He can still lose to them. That's fine.
yeah, I disagree with the ambiguous part. Like I don't see how it can be ambiguous when I've given you the Occams plus on top of that, not only the Occams, but struggle being used in this instance, the definition, and Daniel not ever struggling with I'm not struggling against Daniel. And then how if I think that if like you compare a fighter to yourself previously, then it would mean that he doesn't deem that they're on like par with him right now, right?
Yeah, for
But
the Occam's razor part, like I already told you, I'm not sure how you, unless you're total fucking retard, I'm not sure how any stance here would be less or more parsimonious than the other one. And then for the other parts, it's just your interpretation. Like I'm saying, you need an argument for that. You can't just say, "Oh, I think this, I think that." Well, yeah, I think the other thing. I think the negation to this. You see how that's not really informative? We can't really get anywhere from this.
I mean, you can interpret it that way, but I feel like if I'm giving you all of this evidence driving to that, then I think
Okay.
my explanation would be preferred. But
Yeah, obviously, but I don't think it's evidence for your position. It's kind of the point. But yeah, okay.
Can
If
y'all
that's the thing,
can
then
y'all
we can just move
conclude
on.
on
right,
this?
you see,
Can
Okay.
y'all conclude on this?
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's your scaling, hold on. You can go for more scaling if you want, but I just want to go more scaling. It's kind of
No,
short.
no, 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 no. You can go. You
Okay. I think you're fine with Gita being relative to James Harden.
Keith be relative to James.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine with
Okay.
that.
Okay. Gun just says that he beats every king. What's up?
You rep Keith here.
Sorry.
Nothing.
You said we
I
rep
think he said
Kita in
something.
this bitch.
I did not say
Yeah, I
that.
think Gun just says that he beats every king, like on panel.
Do you have it or?
Oh, you want me to send panel?
Yeah.
Sure. I was like, absolute fucking stink argument, by the way. But hold on. Wait, what is in skin? Okay. One sec. If someone else has the skin, they can also send it, but this is gonna take a while. Not because I can't find it, just my fucking internet is dog shit. One sec.
It's fine. It's fine.
Stronger wall. Um, here we're okay. There we go. I check bait scans in about 10 minutes. Again, I'm sending right now. Uh, um,
This is an interesting skill. I didn't think you would. Skill is.
oh yeah, check VC scans or debate scans, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, so he just scales above Gite, who scales above or scales to or above James. That there we go.
Okay, wait. So you're affirming that through Gun affirming he's stronger than all the kings, he's
Yeah,
stronger than Kite as well.
yeah. And then we also know that Gun doesn't speak on people's power unless he knows that he's actually like he's actually aware of their power pretty much. He says that on screen as well with Zhao Long.
Okay, wait. So do you have anything to withhold James having not James? Do you have anything to withhold Gun having knowledge on Kite's prowess? And I
Yeah, he's
disagree with
just yeah. I think
the
we
in
follow
character
from him
reference.
saying that he's stronger than the Kings. And
Wait. I disagree with
the
the in
reason I'm saying this is
character
because
reference.
he says on screen, like I already told you, he says on screen that he only speaks on people's powers if he knows about them. So he probably knows of Gite's power.
Wait, the second part where you strengthen your argument, is there anything to prove that he for in character reference of Gun he doesn't ever say a statement if he has knowledge on everything?
Yeah, he said that with Zhao Long. I think I'm not sure if it was Gu asking him, but someone asked him about Zhao Long, and he said, um, basically said, I'm not going to speak on him unless I saw him fight. Like it would be cool if I saw him fight. Like he's a strong fighter probably. Like he doesn't just outright claim that he's stronger than him because of this. I can send the skin if you want, but yeah, just on screen.
But what if there's a person he's not aware of when he makes the statement? Because I don't think that implies in each and every instance where he would always have.
Maybe, but at the same time, he's also in context with both. Like he's in close contact with both Charles Short and James Lee, the two guys who fucking know about the guy. So unless you think like people like fucking Gongseop know about the guy, and they like they obviously have hold to less knowledge than Gun, or presumably would hold to less
Well,
knowledge.
I think that they only know about him because of G-Chain.
I mean, yeah, obviously they would have like
related to
a first person encounter, but at the same time, James and Charles also presumably have a first person encounter with the guy. So if they know, then Gun probably knows as well. That's the basis.
I don't need to get scans. You're aware that like Kite goes, he's like always in Mexico, right? Until the time where he went to beat G-Chain up.
Cool. I'm not saying he met him in person. I'm saying that he'd probably get the knowledge from either Charles or James.
Yeah. I'm saying that it would be you would need to have some form of evidence to withhold that he would he would be taking Kite into consideration within this instance. I don't even think he knows Kite when he makes this statement.
Well, otherwise it would just be a category error. I think it's kind of weird of the author to say something and just like lie about it.
I mean, he writes it from their perspective.
He writes it from their perspective. At the same time, it would move the story more if he just write about it. So I think it's just more likely to say that Gun is like every time an author makes a statement like this, it's just going to be true.
I mean, I just agree. I think that like he can still progress the story and write it from their perspective.
No, he can, but at the same time, it's not going to be as efficient. Like if everyone just goes around saying, "Oh yeah, Mandiak and fucking Yusong are on the same level as Gun and Gun," like that should either never gets corrected or just presumed true. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of statements like this as well. By the way, I feel like obviously it's not going to progress as properly. Like if we just always hold to true information, the story can just progress more smoothly. Just pretty trivial.
You said like Maniac stronger than Gun. I'm not saying you were saying
Yeah, because that's my other thing. When statements are just outright wrong, they get corrected on screen. Gun just comes in and corrects the wrong statement.
Okay, so you would agree that they're not always true. Something would suggest otherwise.
Yeah, I'm saying when they're not true, they're usually corrected. So that's kind of like the point. If it wasn't corrected, then it's probably true still.
Okay, so what if also suffice to you that something suggests otherwise?
If like something just comes in and outright like contradicts the statement, yeah, sure, obviously.
Okay.
You know, you can just tell me what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just do that. So, okay.
Yeah.
So I think your argument essentially presupposes that, because I remember earlier, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You withheld that by saying that, what was it, James, and like he's close to them.
Sorry.
He's close to them, right? Do you remember when you like you withheld it by saying that like he's close to them? Remember that?
Not. I said he.
And like,
are you saying about the
Long
three
Jin-
thresholds here? Like the one he struggles with Chun-Li?
No. Like he worked with them, right? Like he worked with them. You were trying to.
With who?
Did you
Like Gun?
have gotten like some sort of knowledge on him? Like Gong too. He's like he even has knowledge on him. Like you were saying that.
Sorry. Can you just be more clear? Like I'm not sure what's on.
I was going to affirm to you that even though Gunn works with James, he never knew who Kite was, and Gunn was like, "Who?"
Okay, so like, what are we looking for?
Because
I'm telling you,
like,
Gun is really close with James. That's kind of like the point. I'm not sure what you're saying right now.
I'm trying to say that even though they're close, I'm trying to make the inference that, like, even if they're close to each other, they don't always tell each other everything. I think some people need to suggest that. But like,
I'm not saying they always do, but I'm just telling you, if people we already know have like less of a like basically, how do you put this? People like Gangsap who have kind of less of a less of a connection to Gite, through G-Shank who like fought him for like what 10 seconds over Gun who has two connections to Gite with Charles and James who worked with them for a way longer time than 10 fucking seconds. It just if G-Shank, sorry, if Gangsap knows this, then G-Shank would sorry Gun would also probably know this. He has just way more information to Gite by proxy.
yeah, let me get this statement because I don't think this statement is like widely known. It'll be quick though. It'll be quick. Don't worry. It'll be quick.
Yeah, you got it. Like he doesn't like the point is not that he shares everything with Gunn. It's just he would probably share something like his fucking working partner or Charles would talk about like Gita at least once and like their fucking years working together. Like literal the king of fucking soul who helped him bring out like what it was like literally the goal Charles was working on for fucking years to bring out Gap Run. It's kind of what he got Gita in the first place. Like if you tell me Gunn literally knew nothing about that, like he's just fucking delusional.
That should be right here. Okay. Do you see the scans? Within the first scan, Gong affirms that Ji-Chang and I have fought many times, but given how he left us, I must pay my respects. And then the second scans, he references, it's when KT references Ji-Chang, recent chapter. He says, it's not Snake, it's Ji-Chang Kiwa. I heard about you too. I repay what he owes you instead, right? So I think essentially what your argument presupposes is that he has some sort of connection to Ji-Chang, because with the evidence that you have sufficed to me, I think that they're like these conclusions were only derived to because of the connection of Ji-Chang, like who Ji-Chang knows and etc. But I don't think Gun has any connection to Ji-Chang. So I don't think that he would logically have knowledge about Kite. I think that Kite's knowledge and like where it comes from is
Wait, Gita is
contingent
just a
on,
source of information. Gita is just
huh?
a, oh sorry, Gita is just a source for information. What I'm telling you is God has a source of information of like literally two times two, pretty much, which are better source of information. So if someone who has less information and less potent information on who Gita is, knows who Gita is, and makes statements about how strong he is, then someone who is working with the guy who gave the guy a fucking job and his fucking working partner would probably know something about Gita as well. Like that's just fucking retarded to say now.
Are you referencing James?
Sorry?
Are you referencing James?
I'm saying Gun. Yeah, I'm basically saying Gun would have better knowledge and more knowledge about Gita. And then people with worse knowledge and less knowledge still know and make statements about his power.
Then
Like he probably has some kind of base on his power.
better knowledge than G-Chain? Or
Better knowledge than Gongsap at least, or presumably like in a vacuum he would have better knowledge.
okay. It's let me see real quick. Okay. Do you remember Humphrey Big Deal? If you remember, I better just not get the scans. Is it lagging?
Well, I didn't see this chance.
Oh no. So do you remember when Gunn and James were talking? They were like, I can't just understand you. And he said that you betrayed Charles.
Sorry.
Do you remember when Gunn and James they said this? I think it's like verbatim. They said that he said that you betrayed Charles? And what else was it? It was also, I just can't understand you, right? I think that this implies that they're just not close with each other. Like they're not as close with each other as you're presupposing. Because if you're going to put the possibility for or argue some sort of possibility that he would have gotten the knowledge from James, seeing as they're close with each other, I think that presupposes that they are inherently close with each other. I think that what the context we have suggests that they're not actually close with each other to where they would chat on a basis or even fight and
Okay.
would know these things that you're presupposing.
So I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure if you just didn't send the scans or did not load it for me, but yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. But
I know. I
either
thought you
way,
were gonna
just to
know.
clarify.
I thought
Oh,
you were gonna
sorry.
know it on recollection. You want me to send them?
Oh yeah, you could. Oh yeah, my bad. But yeah, can you just send it for me, please? Yeah, thank you. But yeah, anyway, that's not really like important. I'm not saying that they're like buddy buddy. I'm not saying that they just like they like get on the phone at night and like go and like talk like girls, bro. Like no, I'm not saying all that. I'm saying that generally in a vacuum, like at all else being equal, these guys who work together, Gunn and James work together, not buddy buddy. Like Charles and Gunn are pretty fucking buddy buddy, and they still work together. And all of these guys together would probably slip in something about fucking the King of Soul, the guy they worked with for fucking months or years. I'm not even sure how long they worked together, but they worked together to bring on the biggest op they have like on the block. Basically, it's a very big fucking project. They would probably talk with each other more than two literal fucking enemies in Teisu. Sorry, not Teisu, Gongseop and Jicheng. The guys who fought multiple times who don't work together. Like, yeah, they're friends kind of, but they don't like. They're way more distant than fucking James and Gunn at a certain like at a given time, or Charles and Gunn at a given time. Like obviously.
Do you want me to still get the scans? I'm on a chapter.
Yeah, you can send the scans, but I'm telling you, like, even if they're not like buddy buddy, like you're like trying to say, I'm saying, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, given all like the available information of how Gongseop got the statement from Jicheng or got the information from Jicheng, Gun would probably get the same information and more potent information than Gongseop because, like, for example, Gongseop and Jicheng don't fucking work together. They're not really close to that. Yeah, they're friends. They talk with each other. They share information with each other. They like for example, Seogdo and fucking Taste like share food. Well, not Taste yeah. Oh yeah, Taste They literally share meals with each other. Like yeah, that's fine, obviously, but they're not like always like in the same fucking facility. Not always in the same realm. Like Gunn and James literally work together. They work together for fucking years. Same with Charles, who also knows about Gita. Obviously, he gave the guy a job.
Oh,
Like
sorry. I'll focus on scans.
yeah,
I advise that you repeat that.
well, that shit is fucking ass, bro. Actually, hold on. I think it got better from last time.
Who?
Unironically. I say my level on Sunday tier list in chat. It got better from last time. I think. Wait, hold on. Let me check it.
Wait, mine's or someone else's?
Malevolent, he sent it in chat. So it's been asked. Um, I can treat you right. So, mm, mm, mm. Bro, who made this, bro? What the fuck? Bro, I'm crying, bro. What the fuck? Yeah, everyone check General, bro. Check the message every flight. What the fuck? Bro, that's fucking hilarious. Wait, hold on. You're probably older than me, though. Don't say this shit, bro. You're probably older than me.
Why are the scans so stretched out?
Like, bro, like you can, I mean, you can send the scans. Obviously, that's not gonna hurt, but I feel like the meat and potatoes is not the scans.
These are the scans I was referencing. I bet it took so long. The first one was like one after the 2 chapters before that one.
All right.
Okay, yeah. Do you agree that the kings they meet up with each other? They fight, meet up, they have meetings or something?
Yeah, no, obviously.
Yeah, okay. So the scans just affirm that you acting as though you're gonna reject Charles' choice, so you've completely gone to the work aside. Making Charles Choi into your enemy, I just can't understand you. I think that implies that they aren't close enough to where like okay, because when you give evidence you're for the likelihood, right?
Yeah.
I think that what everything suggests would decrease the likelihood at all. Because what you're referencing, it's people who have like DJ has this connection to them. He has on many occasions have been proven to reference Kite about how Jim Ray says, I heard what happened to you too. And he has this connection with the Kings, etc. Right? It's highly likely that he would have told them something due to the
Okay.
connection with them. But I think that like with Gunn and James, I don't think there's anything that is hinted towards anything having the connection to where they would tell each other information or anything. I think that the evidence would suggest decrease the likelihood, like there wouldn't be
Decrease
much
the
likelihood.
likelihood?
There decrease the likelihood that he would have told him something. And
Okay. Wait, sorry, the evidence
sure.
like in the base scans?
Yeah,
The one
because
you
I think
sent?
like when you give your evidence, right? It's through people who have a connection with each other. It's likely that they would have told each other this and that, right? But with Gunn, right? For him getting information on Kite for whoever means that you have given, I don't think that there's some sort of like connection or anything that would suggest that he would have gotten it from them,
Okay.
right?
Okay, just look here on the scan you sent. It's just saying that James betrayed Gunn and Charles. He literally just doesn't understand it. Like, not sure what that does for you. But okay, just to run away the argument against very simple. It's a very simple induction. It's just saying, okay, given that this guy who has both less information, less potent information, and less connection to the actual information giver, less connection given that he doesn't actually like hang out with him or work with him on a regular basis. That guy somehow got good enough information to actually make statements about the guy's fucking strength. But the guy who has all those qualities met, those conditions met, and more, like literally has more stacked on top of that. He has both more information connectors, meaning he has connection to both Charles and James, who both worked with Gite. Um, yeah, all of that just stacks, and like marginally more likely to say that Gunn also holds at the very least the same level of information, if not way fucking more. Unless you're trying to say that there's something special about how Ji Chang and Gong Sap are talking. Like at face value, yes, he's probably gonna know this stuff. Like it's pretty simple.
Okay. I don't think that that's valid because do you remember when I referenced where the Tian Ling part
Yeah,
where Gunn he didn't know like when James first references let's see when they first reference he references
yeah,
Sionji. That's like when they meet up. I'm pretty sure you remember. Like he references
yeah,
Sionji, Kite, right? Even though because you're referencing the time where they worked together, right?
yeah.
Right. I think it's invalid because even when they did work together, which is what your argument is contingent upon, I didn't think they weren't even still close. Uh,
I'm not sure
he
what close
Gunn
means. Like,
didn't
what do you mean by
know.
close?
Well, in that close as in they wouldn't exchange information like to the point where he
Okay,
would
so you're
tell
thinking like
about
two
Kite,
coworkers just like
etc.
never talk to each other about anything.
But close, I think you should reference like what I given you from D Chang.
No, because
I
you
think D
gave me
Chang
like
said
you just said
D Chang and
that like you
Kings.
just sent me so you just sent me James betraying Charles. That has nothing to do with Gunn's and James's connection before that. And by the way, this is just Gunn and James. There's still Charles and Gunn, by the way. But yeah, this
Yeah,
this told you nothing about Guns and James's
this
connection
is
before
why
that. That's not
this is what I'm
nothing.
referencing when they work together, right? Because unless correct me if I'm wrong, a big part of your argument is when they work together, they would have exchanged information to increase our
Yeah,
to
generally because
your
they both
argument,
have
right?
more opportunity and they're in a closer spot together than Gongsep and Jicheng. So unless there's something like extremely special about Jicheng's and Gongsep's connection, like for example, they're like fucking the bestest of best friends, where the information they exchange with each other, you just can't fucking expect from other relationships. Then other relationships like Gunn and James, even if they're not fucking buddy buddy, they're still gonna end in the same result. Especially Gunn and Charles. Like these guys are actually buddy buddy. Like these guys are actually almost best friends.
Okay. So that's why I got into the point on like Elite and Gunn and James working together. I'm showing you that even when they worked together, James didn't exchange to him. He wasn't like Sionji. He wasn't telling him that Sionji about Sionji and how the fight went. He just said, "Watch your mouth." And what was it? It was the second part where he says that man. He didn't even tell him about Kite or anything about him. Right? I think that implies that they don't exchange information, as in he would just tell Gunn everything he knows about the King's part.
Wait, sorry.
Right?
I
This is
don't
what
mean to cut you off too much. Wait, sorry. I don't mean to. I just want to be clear. Are you saying that he just didn't tell Gun about Gite and Seongji like at a certain point?
at a certain point. I'm just saying that what we have doesn't suggest he would exchange like that type of information with Gunn.
Yeah, but like,
But
how are you saying that? Because I thought you were saying that he just like because he references Gite as like that man and like Seongji or something something. That tells us that he doesn't exchange with Gun, but that tells me literally nothing.
I know I'm just giving the inference that they wouldn't have exchanged the information because of how he's treating Gunn with this instance saying watch your mouth. He's not telling him context on what happened or anything like that. Even
Wait,
despite working
do you think
together,
I'm saying? Hold on, do you think I'm saying that every
wait,
time Gun and James speak, they just
before we
like
keep going,
pour out information to each other?
I wanted
Sorry,
to say one more
sorry.
thing.
You got it.
That's right. So what I've given you is that within the Kings, they you probably don't remember because I didn't send scans maybe, but with the Kings, they meet up with each other, right?
Yeah.
They not only meet up with each other, they fight many times. And then we have the evidence suggesting he told them about Kite. And then I think another thing that I would bring up would be that, like, do you remember when he pierced Ji Chang's hand?
Okay. Yeah.
He like pierced Ji Chang's hand. I think that if someone was to ask him, they would be like, "What happened to your hand? Who could have done that to you?" or something like that. I think that this would be another factor that would bring up Kite being referenced. Like these are all the things that would increase like the likelihood of Gong having the knowledge and all of these things right here. But within this instance, right? So that's what I'm saying. So what I'm trying to reference is that there's usually context that suggests that he would have gotten the knowledge. And yeah, but within this instance right here for Gunn and James, we have no clear indication or anything concrete that would suggest anything towards them having some sort of like
Okay, just to be
connection
clear,
to it.
obviously I think Grant. Okay, you just said like a bunch of shit. Yeah, obviously we can already agree that G-Change does share information with Gangsta, like about the last part. But unless you think that it's expected under my position that every time James and Gunn speak, he just fucking spills out information to fucking cum bucket to Gunn. Oh yeah, like who gave you this car? This guy. This is his name. This is how he looks like. This is his funny style. Yada yada yada. Unless you think that's expected under my position or anything like along those lines, where he just every time they speak to each other, he has to spill something out to the guy. He has to tell him something. Then that's not inferring to anything. All I'm saying is that under like the years that they worked together, he would probably tell at least something worthy of making the statement because they have both better circumstances than Ji Cheng and Gang Xiap. Uh, Charles and Gunn just outright have a fucking better relationship, but that's besides the point. We're talking about James here. And all the qualities that would be met for Ji Cheng to make that statement, sorry for Gang Xiap to make that statement, would be met in earnest with Gunn and James. So like really, like what are we doing here?
Oh my bad. I heard the server was acting up.
Wait, sorry, do you hear what I said? I'm saying like point is
Wait.
basically
They're
yeah.
sending like weird stuff. I heard. Who's sending weird stuff?
Yeah, this nigga's saying straight porn.
Who?
Delete
This
it.
nigger's on porn, guys. Please ban him. Please, I'm gay. Please don't send porn in chat, guys. Like shut the
Yeah,
fuck up.
bro.
Anyways,
Man, shut your
No,
bitch
I
ass
heard
up.
it
I don't
was
want to
like
see no weird
child.
shit.
They're sending like children.
I don't want to see no weird shit, bro. With some children fucking getting like kicked in the pussy.
okay. Anyway, you want me to read it?
You could be into that shit on your own time.
I'm not talking to you.
I was talking to you though.
Okay, we're schizophrenic. I fuck with him. Anyway, Yo,
I
Mark, do you want me to
Gyro.
I was
repeat it? Or...
talking to another person.
I
Schizophrenic.
Gyro. I Gyro. I didn't think they were saying
Yeah,
that
got
stuff.
it. Okay, basically, in essence, like, just in a nutshell, I'm
Who's
saying,
sending it?
unless you think something which is expected of my position is every time Gunn speaks to James, James is just gonna fucking spill out information like a fucking gun bucket. Like literally in every interaction they have. Then this doesn't tell you anything about my position at all, or like how they actually interact. Because all I'm saying is during the given time they had to interact, which is like several years, given the condition they had, which was their coworkers, and given um what else? Yeah, given that James just literally has more and more important information about Gite. He would all the conditions that Gongstep had met to actually make the statement about Gite from Jicheng would be met in earnest with Gun. So I'm confused. How can you say that Gun doesn't actually have the knowledge to say this? It's pretty retarded.
Okay. So where it's deriving from is, do you remember at the start where you said you were like about the Kings, right? You used the Kings as a reference, right? I think that the reference
Yeah.
that you gave me, it presupposes that Gunn would have this sort of similar connection and would be getting the same thing, right? That's what I put in the question, because Gunn affirms that he's stronger than all the Kings, but I put that knowledge in the question. I think that it just contingent upon his knowledge of the Kings. But only that he has
Okay.
knowledge suffice to be above Kite, right? Now, I'm not saying that in every interaction they would, just because of that one interaction, I'm just saying that I'm just withholding to you within within the interactions that we have of them, there's nothing that would suggest that they would talk about these type of things. Within which we use for evidence to conclude upon that, there
Okay.
was things
Just to
that
be
would
clear, I'm
suggest
not.
that. And
Also, just to be clear, I'm not using like their direct instructions to say that James would spill this knowledge to Gun. I'm making an induction for him. So, given we have a statement made by Gongxiap, have all these conditions met for him to make the statement. All these conditions are met with Gun and James. So, unless you think there's something special about Gongxiap's and Ji-Chang's relationship, then it's pretty odd. It's pretty queer to say that Gun wouldn't also have the same fucking knowledge to make the same fucking statement, if not better. Like, the information he has is just straight up fucking better than Gongxiap's. So we can yeah.
okay, because I think that for the Kings, except I'm not saying they have this sort of special relationship where they love each other or something. I'm just saying that within this instance, there's so many things that would suggest that he would have gotten the knowledge, but I don't think that you have given sufficient evidence as to why Gunn doesn't have the connection to anybody on the level of these Kings, or etc. Because if the Kings are a reference, then I don't think you've given sufficient evidence as to why he would be in a similar position to affirm this. And
Okay. Okay.
it was
I mean, I feel like I just ran through my whole argument. So, uh, I mean, I can give you more scaling if you want, or we can just conclude here.
let me give one more part, and then we probably can conclude.
Oh,
I
you want to
went
give an
to-
argument as well?
It was one thing I wanted to get into.
Yeah,
I got
sure.
to, I needed to reaffirm it. Sorry. Gyro, can you reaffirm it for me? Sorry.
Wait, I'm sorry. What's up?
Oh, there was one thing in your argument that I wanted to get into, but
Yeah, you got it.
yeah, I got distracted. So because of the weird stuff. I think it was around that time. I just wanted to reaffirm your argument.
All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want me to repeat my argument? This is very simple.
Yeah, just reaffirm it for me.
Just the actual chain scale, or whatever, the specific part. Like, what do you want?
Your reasoning.
Um,
When you
for why
said
Gun has the
about
knowledge.
yeah, it was something around there. Yeah.
All right. I think it's just the best inductive case to say that Gunn would have the fucking knowledge. Because given all these conditions were met, presumably, seemingly, all these conditions were met with Gongstap to make the statement about Gite's power, which were, okay, Jicheng has this information. Jicheng obviously has some kind of connection to Gongstap. Jicheng has this potent information, meaning his information is this accurate, whatever the fuck. All those conditions are there for Gongstap to make the statement. Now, that's all we know at face value with Gongstap and Jicheng. All of that is met in earnest with Gunn and James, let alone Gunn and fucking Charles, who gave the guy a fucking job. Because one, Gunn has, even if you don't think they're fucking buddy, which I don't think fucking, like, obviously I don't think either. Gunn and James were just closer by proxy. They were literally in the same facility, in the same circle for like years. They obviously had several interactions during that time. Even if you think that like Teisu and the other kings, whatever the fuck, they're close as friends, it doesn't really matter because they would still have less like chances to talk. They would still like they would be basically further apart, literally. They're not. They can be close arbitrarily, which I don't think you can prove either. But whatever. Basically, the conditions are there. They're not totally alien to each other. They're still talking to each other, still sharing information with each other. Presumably, they're working together. So that is there. Then James obviously has information on detail, like both of those conditions. It's more potent information because he was working with the guy, and it's more information because he was working with the guy. Like he didn't just fight him for 10 seconds.
Okay. You didn't add on any points, right?
Sorry?
Just making sure you didn't add on any positives and that.
No. That's all I said.
Okay. Okay, we would probably just conclude right here then.
All right. You don't want to give like any more?
I don't remember.
Or...
I don't remember that thing.
Sorry?
But actually, never mind. I don't remember what I was gonna.
All right. If you want to give me, okay, I can give you another argument if you want, or we can just go for more scaling. Or if you want to conclude right here, I'm also fine with that.
Hey, I thought you said you were gonna get one more contender.
Like this, I was, but I can't remember. That's right. But
if you get me bothered, that's fine. I only care.
Maybe I'm just misremembering. I think it was a point that I argued. Okay, Gyro. Is that enough to conclude?
Yeah, I'm fine with concluding right now.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Frosty, Vortex is judging this, by the way.
Vortex is a good judge, right?
Yeah, Vortex is a good judge, yeah.